When I first picked up this roll, I thought I knew pretty much what I was about to open. And then I caught a glimpse of the end coin, and that flash of color stopped me instantly. Deep blues, violet, gold, all blending together in a way you almost never see on a Morgan dollar. Right away, I knew this wasn't going to be a normal roll reveal, but I didn't pull that coin out first. Instead, I put it at the very bottom of the stack, so I could evaluate every other coin in the roll before I looked at it. 19 Morgans, one after another, date, mint mark, surfaces, luster, building the full picture before touching that roll ender. And when I finally got to it, the colors hit me all over again. Strong, saturated, almost unreal. So today, under the turntable and under high magnification, we're answering the question everybody's thinking. Is this toning natural or not?
This is a full 20 coin Morgan roll. But what really caught my attention immediately was this. But before we deep dive into that one, we're going to go ahead and open the roll and inspect all the other coins inside. And then we'll circle back to the ender for a full authenticity examination under two different microscopes. Okay, let's see what we've got. Let's go ahead and open it up from this end. Now this should all be an uncirculated roll. So that's what I am expecting here. All right, so far so good. Now what we're going to actually do is leave that toned ender down on the other side. We'll look at that one last and see what else we've got in here in the meantime. All right, coin number one off of this roll. Well, okay, it's an 1885. It's got some very nice reflective surfaces. Reverse, not too shabby. All right, let's do this. All right, there's a quick look at the surface. You get some abrasions pretty much all over. Now the reverse looks very nice. All right, that is an 1885 O. All right, coin number two is a 1904. Looks like another O. So that's what the obverse looks like. And yes, that is another O. All right, not a bad looking coin overall. Coin number three. 1881, that's going to be a San Francisco, I'm pretty sure. Let's make sure of that. So there's your hairline. You got a hit on the cheek. And that is a New Orleans. Wow, okay. Couple more dings on the breast feathers. Looks like we may even have a die break up there. But we'll take a look at that one. All right, next one up. Coin number four is another 1881. Again, very reflective surfaces on both sides. Okay. So here we're looking at a pretty decent strike, a little bit of noise in the fields, but that could almost be a semi-PL or even a proof-like. All right, that's an 81S. Not a bad coin at all. Very happy with that. Next up, 1897, Philly. Not a great strike. That might even be an AU slider. All right. Next up, we've got coin number 6. That is an 1898 Philly with some kind of a mark on the eagle's beak there. Well, the obverse doesn't look too bad. Decent strike, not the best. Philadelphia. All right, the reverse looks a little better. You got a hit up there. All right, coin number 7. 1900 Philly. A little bit of color around the rim there. That's kind of nice. A little bit of a weak strike. Yeah, I've seen better. All right, that was number 7. Here's coin number 8. 1883 Philly. Again, probably more of an AU slider than an uncirculated coin. Can't say I'm thrilled with that. All right, that's coin number 8. Here is number 9. Again, we've got some kind of marks on there. 1890. It does have some interesting toning on it. Both sides. A Philly. Again, not a very good strike, but some interesting color. All right, that was number 9. All right, we're halfway, guys. 1887 Philly. Got a couple of big hits on the cheek. Hairline, not so great. Yeah, the reverse a little bit better on that coin. All right, that was the halfway mark. If you are enjoying this video, please subscribe to the channel and give this a like. All right, we've got some very reflective surfaces there once again on this 1883. Looks like that's a Philly. Wow, both sides. Look at the reflectivity on that. Okay, that is definitely worth taking a look at. All right, not a bad strike. Look at the reflectivity and luster on that thing. Oh my goodness gracious. And that is even more. Look at that. You can see the full reflection of the light in the fields. That is just ridiculous. Okay, that demands a full screen. Look at that coin. Wow. And the obverse, not quite as reflective, but almost. Wow. Very impressive. Okay, that one I like. That is coin number 11. Coin number 12. What have we got here? 1887. Another Philly. A little bit of color. Not a great hairline. Possibly an AU slider. All right, not thrilled with that. That's 12. All right, here's number 13. That's a 1902. Philly, okay. Got some very nice colors on that. And a reasonably good strike. Do have some abrasions throughout the fields, but wow, look at the reverse on this one. Beautiful Philadelphia coin. Okay, that was number 12. They're trying to make it back up to me. Here's number 13. That's an 1883. Nope, 1889. Sorry. And that's a filly. And for filly, again, not the best strike in the world. Obverse, probably a little bit better. All right, that's number 14. Number 15 looks like this with some more character. Look at that patina. 1882. And that is an O. Yep. All right, so look at this. And for an O mint coin, that is actually a pretty good strike. You got a decent hairline, relatively minor hits in the field. You got a couple above her eyes there, a couple on the cheek and the chin. But overall, for New Orleans and with that color, that is a nice looking coin. All right, that was number 15. Here comes number 16. That's an 1881. And that's going to be an S. All right. That doesn't look too shabby at all. Beautiful surfaces, great reflectivity. You do have a lot of noise in the fields, though, and a couple on her cheek and near the eye. And you've got a pretty nice looking San Francisco struck reverse. Okay, that was 16. Here's number 17, another coin with some color in there. 1896. That one's a filly. Okay. Overall, I'd give that a meh. That could be an AU slider, but I do like the colors on that. Wow. Okay, the strike on the reverse is a lot better. All right, that was 16. Whoop, 16? No, that was 17. Sorry, I'm off. This is 18. That is an 1885 filly. And that is not a bad strike. And that doesn't look too bad at all either. And I really like that colors. All right, that was 18. Here comes number 19. That's an 84. And that's a filly. Nope, that's an 84. Oh, my bad. And that is typical for New Orleans. And there you go, again on the reverse. Okay, but this is the one that we all want to see. Oh my goodness gracious, look at the toning on the obverse. So that is an 1887 Philadelphia. Now, what we're going to have to do is put this over here and give you a real nice look at what she looks like over here. Look at this coin. Oh my goodness. Now, the question is, are these colors legit or are they artificially induced? That is the real question. Okay. So my first impression, the colors are beautiful, but the colors aren't always natural. So we're looking for radial toning patterns, color transitions, luster continuity, any hot spots from artificial heating, splotchy chemical residue. Natural toning should show smooth transitions with intact flow lines. Artificial often creates sharp color boundaries, halos, or dead luster. So I'm seeing a little bit of luster in this coin, actually. So whatever, if they did something artificially to it, it doesn't look like it killed the luster. And the same is kind of true on the obverse. But let's take it over here to scope 2 and get a little bit more in-depth look. So I'm seeing pretty steady patterns. Like there's a nice little transition here and all the way through here. I don't know. I'm leaning towards this could very well be legit. I would love to hear from you all what you think in the chat, or in the comments, I should say, as to whether or not you think this coin is legitimate. This one is going to be a tough call. So here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to get more up close and more personal. Now, the surface texture of that coin, to me, does not look altered. I'm not seeing hot spots or anything that tells me that was applied artificially. And wow, I'm not sure how they would be able to impregnate those colors that far into the recesses if that was done artificially. I mean, if this is artificial, they did a pretty good job. What are your thoughts in the comments? Let me know. Does that look legit? And look at that. It looks like we may even have a die crack down there. No, maybe not. Never mind. But the colors on this coin are just spectacular. Look at this. I mean, when have you seen toning on a coin that looks like that? So the jury, I suppose, is still out until I go ahead and submit it for grading. But if that comes back straight grade, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think that would add to the value of the coin. I have a feeling that if that came back even a decent grade, that would come back with a pretty high value price tag on it once it had a slab on it saying, yep, this is legit, this is not artificially induced. And that's the roll, gang. I would love to know what you all think. And even better, for my next video, I've got another full roll of Morgans, but this one has what looks like, well, this one has a CC ender on the roll, but it looks like it's an overmint. So you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that reveal. And please like this video. If you think this toning is impressive, well, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching, everybody.